All right, Avid Scholars, today we're going to do lesson 2. It's a Lifeline lesson for 7th grade Avid. There is a guided notes for this lesson in the Mastery Basket, and so you're going to need that in order to do today's lesson. So go ahead and stop the video so you can go and get that. The essential question, and you're going to copy this down in your guided notes, is how do I generate ideas for my memoir? And today we're going to talk about a little bit about the prompt for this and the writing task for this. All right, in your notes, you are going to write down as many descriptive details about this image of this puppy dog. So you're going to maybe want to write some sounds, some sights, some smells. So go ahead and jot down all the descriptive details. Think about adjectives and figurative language. For example, you could say the puppy's eyeballs were as big as balloons or whatever. So go ahead and write up as many as you can. I challenge you to write at least 5. If you can write more, that's awesome. And now we're going to talk about what a memoir is. So in your note catcher, you want to talk about what that is. A memoir is from the Latin word memory. It's a written record of a person's knowledge of events or experiences that have influenced their life. And memoir writing is a type of autobiography. That means you're writing it about yourself with the focus being a special time or event that had meaning to the author. So a memoir is just like looking at one event in somebody's life and writing it out like a story. So let's talk about the writing prompt for this unit. You are going to write a memoir of one significant event from your life where you demonstrated grit or perseverance. You're going to describe the event using precise and vivid language, sensory details, and from a perspective other than your own. So maybe the story that you're going to write about involves your mom or your puppy dog or a sibling or a friend. You're not writing the memoir from your experience. You're going to write it from somebody else's, okay? And so I want you on your guided notes, you are going to digest the prompt with me right now. So we're going to take a minute and we're going to digest this prompt. So whatever I put on my paper, I want you to put on your paper. So the very first thing I notice is that this is saying to write a memoir. So let's circle the word memoir. We want this transparent. And memoir means it's a memory, right, of one significant event. Take your pencil and we are going to, we're going to look at one significant event, and I want you to highlight or underline that. I'm going to go ahead and underline it. Where you demonstrated grit or perseverance. I want you really quickly to highlight perseverance. And then on the side, you are going to write what perseverance means. So perseverance means to put in effort despite your failures. So I can think of like a time where I kept interviewing to get a teaching job, but I just kept sticking with it. Even though I had to interview at least 5 times, I kept going back and going back and going back. So even though I kept failing, I kept going back with better information, and I practiced my speaking, and I did that. So if you can think of a time where you persevered, you put in a lot of effort, even though you may have failed or had hiccups along the way. Describe the event using precise and vivid language and sensory details. So when we're talking about sensory details, guys, go ahead and highlight sensory details. Oops, I need my highlighter. We're talking about, write this down, sights, sounds, tastes, smells, and feelings. Write that down on this paper. From a perspective other than your own. So what that means, I want you to underline other than your own. What we're talking about other than your own, we're talking about somebody else. So in my case, I'm going to write the story not from my perspective of the interviews, but maybe from the perspective of my husband or my dog who was around during this time and I was so frustrated. So I might say, um, my wife, Alex, continued to try to interview for this job and she kept failing. And the first time I gave her advice, the second time I gave her advice. Okay. All right. Once you've added these notes and done all these tasks, we're moving on. This is what you've done to your paper here. We're going to talk about your Lifeline pre-write. So on the back of your guided note sheet, you're going to draw a horizontal line across the page like this, just a straight line. And this line represents your life. So you're going to add some tick marks to that line, just like this, maybe like a little thumb's width is a year, and then draw it. So you draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to how old you are. I know some of you are 12, some of you are 13. Okay. And then what you're going to do on your Lifeline, you're going to add important events in your life. So right here, if you're looking at this example, it says, I got Charlie, my dog. I got a new house. Okay. I started school when I was 5. Usually most of us start school in kindergarten around 5. You broke your leg when you were 6 skiing. They went to the cabin in the mountains when they were 7. They went to Disney World when they were 8. They had diabetes. They found out they got diagnosed. They went to middle school when they were 12. Some of you were 11. So you can put really good events in your life. I want you to think of things that demonstrated grit or perseverance. So things that are positive, awards, maybe moving homes, interests or hobbies, or important people that entered your life. Maybe you adopted a brother or sister, or maybe your parents got married and that was really hard for you. And so you're going to talk about that. Okay. I would love positive events to be above the line. I don't want to see a lot of negative events, especially if it's something that you're not feeling like you can share with the class. So let's try to stay on the positive side of this. And then these are stepping stones. These are moments that changed how you think, act, or feel. And so you want to think about those events. Okay. So for me, it would be like, okay, I went to elementary school and then we moved and then I made some new friends and okay, we went on a big family trip to Hawaii. So think about, and so you want to put maybe 10 events on your timeline to get all the points for this, okay? When you are done with your timeline, your Lifeline, you need to find a friend who is wearing the same color item as you are in the Avid classroom, only one friend. And if somebody is busy and you can't interrupt them, you can come and share your Lifeline with me and we'll talk about it. And then I want you to tell me or your buddy what event you want to focus on for your actual memoir writing here that's due in Avid. Remember, your memoir is this a moment in your life that you can describe with vivid language and sensory details that shows perseverance. So, which one of these events on your Lifeline is the one that you're going to actually focus on? And that's it. You can turn that into Miss M for your notes for today.